You know what it is. It's Big Mitch from 89106, the logo. Shout out to the 030 Vegas Chronicles, the Meadows, kicking in your door. It's the big homie. You already know where I'm going with this, right? Yeah, all up there with it. And if you don't get it, quit it. That type of stuff. First off, let me start off by saying, man, y'all keep my family in y'all prayers, man. We suffered a devastating loss. One of my family members, man, a legend. You know, a real good dude, humble dude, but was a beast with his hands. One of the original reputable hand guys of the west side of Las Vegas. Madison Terry, somebody I'm proud to share DNA with. My family, Kabubi. Rest in peace, man. You gonna be dearly missed. You know, I'm sending love out to the Conways, man. That's my family. Allen's, Conways, Banks, Shepherds. You know, that's my bloodline, you know what I mean? And we lost a major figure, and it's going to hurt a while, and it's going to take a while for us to get over that. So y'all keep me and my family in your prayers, you know, and he going to be dearly missed, man. Rest in peace, Kabuki. Hey, look, I was supposed to bring y'all part 2 of Hand Gods, right? Unfortunately, I got sidetracked. I'm gonna get to part 2 of Hand Gods, whether they buff or little, because it's a lot of names I didn't mention. You know, the Harvey Perrys, who've been knocking people out since he was 14. I really don't know this guy, but I done my homework, and from what I heard, he was a real beast with his hands. You know, from an early age, always been on the iron. Harvey Perry Sr. up out of Regular States, one of the original Playboy gangsters up out of the States. You know, they say he was a demon with his hands, you know what I mean? And he was young with it. And I could see why OG Ted from PB's, I guess when the incident happened, it went that way, you know what I mean? Meaning Ted, you know, hit him and, you know, he couldn't knock him out, whatever. But it's a whole bunch of people that I didn't mention from the Lockharts, you know, like I say, it's a bunch of people, you know, like Big George Gordon and stuff like that I'm going to get to next. You know, Loco Abdul down there representing Kim folks, man. Hand guy, you know, that's of my era, though. You know, for him to be in the era where he was down there and to, you know, be mixing motherfuckers up like he was, you know, and name to be ranking like it was, and to hurt whole firm and push the line that way, you know, I'm going to have to give him his flowers, and I can't wait to bring him on and share the knowledge, because I love the growth that he has, you know. And what he told me about a certain individual who I ain't going to even bring up, I take that to heart, because, you know, that right there, I'm totally against, you know. So, you know, when he told me what it is, that's what it is, and I stand by him because he's a solid one, and he's a real one, shout out, and he's for the solution and not the problem, you know. So when he tell me something, I'm going to take that to the bank. Much love to Loco Abdul. But check this out, man. I'm not going to go over this no more, okay? Some dudes telling me, listen, when you listen, I mean, I don't know about your family, and I'm talking to this dude that's talking about his family 79 and Crips and GQs and Gersons being way closer to Crips than Bloods and all that. Look, the Gerson ain't way close. Listen, when I was banging, let me be honest with you, the Gerson ain't never been way closer to nobody, okay? We didn't have to be, because before that was Gerson, there was nothing. We wasn't way closer to nobody. Now, if you're trying to say the Crips was way closer to the Gersons, I don't even agree with that. The Gersons was their own entity. And I don't know how you had GQs and all this other stuff before my father. Listen, homie, I'm going to break it down to this. I'm going to just make it real simple for you. Okay? Elementary. And I'm going to speak in layman terms. When my father left in 79, there were no Ace of Spades. Okay? They came after my father. The GQs come after the Ace of Spades. The Ace of Spades is the first oldest gang in Vegas. How many times I gotta say that? And then the GQs ain't even the second oldest gang. If you know your history, 28th Street is. So to you dudes that's proclaiming it to know something, the difference is I was there when it was nothing. I watched it become something. I didn't get all my information from other people. Now, I can't say I know everything. A lot of it was told to me from the horse's mouth, which is my father. When my father left this earth and he could barely breathe, he used to talk to me every day on the phone. His last days on the phone, he spent them with me, barely being able to breathe. And he filled in the blanks that I always had questions because I wondered why, people talked about him so much. And is these, stories true, and what really happened with this and what really happened with that. And I heard it from the horse's mouth. That's why can't nobody tell me nothing. And he told me a whole bunch of shit, like 2 years worth of information. And I thank God for him giving me that time. Even though my father wasn't a part of my life, he gave me 2 years worth of information I needed. And I heard it straight from the horse's mouth, the man, the chief of all chief. That's something you can't take from me or him. He started all this. Don't try to place no GQs next to my father. Ain't no GQ that can measure up to my father. My father is before all that. It went my father, Ace of Spades, 28th Street, and then the GQs. So you ain't in no 79. Get your number right, bruh. And we ain't never been way close to nobody, man. We had allegiance with Bloods and we had allegiance with Crips. In the beginning, just because everybody was saying cuz, we was saying it first. The Gersons was saying it first. But just because everybody was saying cuz, that don't mean that we was close to the Crips. We didn't like GQs since they inceptions. When they came out, we always fought GQs. We only became cool with the Blue Rag when Donna came out. That's the only time you go find Gerson's on record as being like cool with Crips. When was we cool with the War Babies? We fought the BTDs. We wasn't just all out war, enemies with CCG, but we fought them too. Vegas Heights, UCCs. So, what is you talking about? And we have also been connected with the Bloods. The Pyrus helped us fight the GQs at Lorenzi Park. Y'all remember the big fight that the Pyrus and the GPKs had with the GQs at Lorenzi Park? But that don't mean that we was pro-Bloods. The Gerson always had his own identity. I told you, if anybody, we'd have been more like Hoovers. We didn't like nobody. And from what I hear, they still don't. And every alliance that the Gerson had with other gangs, it didn't last because the Gersons is always, that's why they call us the Dirty Herbert Gerson, man. So I don't know where you get your information from, but when you put it forth, know what you talk about. Don't bring nothing to the table somebody told you because it might not be accurate. Some of the things I've said, like when I said, certain individuals started this and people had to call me and get at me and be like, hey, that ain't the truth though, Sheep. And I can't argue with another dude about their hood, but what I know about my father and the inception of everything before it was any hood, that's something you can't tell me nothing about. And everybody, you ask your OGs about my father. Ask your OGs. It ain't nobody from a hood in Las Vegas that don't know that name, Sheepdog. And my daddy been gone for I don't know how long. They kicked my daddy out of the state of Nevada in 1979, but it ain't nobody. Ask a real OG from every neighborhood on the four corners of Las Vegas about that name, Sheepdog. And they would tell you that's the chief. That's the hand god of all gods. Who whooped my father? And who haven't my father whooped? So when you talk about history, know what you're talking about, man. For real. And another thing, I get phone calls a lot. It's never, and people call me to congratulate me, but it's never positive stuff. It's always some weird, look, man, when I started doing these videos, I knew exactly what I was getting myself into. I got my PSI report. Everything about me is certified and authenticated. Yeah, see, I can bring mine to the forefront. Ain't no jackets of no kind on me, other than being unruly, uncivilized, and untamable. But ain't nothing on mine. I got my PSI report from the first dirt I did to the last dirt I done. Everything in my life is documented, man. I ain't got a lot. That's why when I go at the youngsters, what they go get is pure authenticity. My redemption is real. Because I used to really be about that life. But I understand the hate. But one thing I ain't gonna do is worry about another dude's jealousy, envy, or whatever y'all do behind my back. That's what you do. When I was banging, you did the same thing. So whether I'm doing wrong or I'm doing right, you was always hating on me. Because I'm Sheepdog son, you hating on me. Because I was putting in so much work, you hating on me. And I don't even come around nobody to be hated on. So my attention has to be on reality. Okay? And the reality of the situation is people dying. I'm losing my family members. I'm losing people I consider my friends. You know what I mean? And at the same time, you think I want to be worrying about other dudes calling grown ass men, talking about another man? That's weird. That's strange and it's suspect. And I know some of y'all females be looking upside y'all head like, why y'all always talking about that boy? Because he ain't doing nothing to y'all. Y'all got to be around each other to validate one another. That's why I love individuals like Josie Wales. And I don't speak on Josie Wales, but I'm gonna tell you something about that brother. That's when it come to being a homie. When I was in a GPK, that to me, that was the Kingsman of a Kingsman through and through. Because Josie Wales never told me to do nothing bad or tried to get me to do something he wouldn't do. Even when he was Crazy Reggie, when he was out there on that water tripping, and he a hand guy too. Crazy Reggie, cool, but you piss him off, Crazy Reggie will knock you out and mix you up. But when it come to being a big brother and being a homie, that's to me, that's a Gerson pure at his best. Josie Wales, hands down. Since I was a baby, before I knew who I was, I've been knowing him. Josie Wales, the type of dude that if you get into a fight, if you get in the boys club, and Josie Wales, you come in there with that toothpick in his mouth, walking on the back of them trucks, that's when he was Crazy Reggie. Josie Wales see you tripping over a dig dug machine or something, he go get them boxing gloves. And he gonna make you get out there and he gonna make you box. And the winner get 50 cents. Me and Lil Dog got down, me and Mad Bummer got down, me and Tracy got down, and it was me and Shanika, Nook daughter, got down. Girls, everybody, we all fought, and Crazy Reggie made sure we put them gloves on. And when I got out of Elko and places like that, he didn't ask me if I need no pistol. He didn't ask me if I need none of that. No, Crazy Reggie he go feed you. He gonna make sure you got a couple dollars in your pocket. And if you walking and you trying to get to a destination, Crazy Reggie gonna make sure you get there. And that's real, homie. That's that real homieism, homie. Somebody that really care about you. That's real homieism, homie. He ain't never turned me down. Even when I was out here tripping, whacked out my mind. Couldn't be trusted. I was tripping. He always tried to talk to me, reason with me. He ain't never, when I was on the run from murder, he didn't turn his back on me. That's our homie through and through. That's our homie through and through. Was at my grandmama's funeral. I'm going to tell you something else he did. He saved my life. One day, me and Tyrone Howell, look, we done went to McDear's and got 2 things of consequence of booms for him. Went to Tombstone and got 2-3 sacks of weed. And this back in '89 when that redhead Cess was out. So we drinking consequence in the hot ass sun. This when he was baby Spotty, right? We walking through the alley, we blitzed. We get to the house, we sitting on my couch. I decided we go cook some leg quarters and some french fries, right? So me and that cooking, we drunk, full of our package, we put it on, and me and him sat on the couch and we smoked another joint. I think that was just a little bit too much because we both ended up. Man, we woke up, Crazy Reggie was hitting us on our leg. The whole house was full of black smoke. We down there burnt the whole house down. And he had the door wide open trying to get us up out of there. Me and Tyrone had. We done down there burnt up the whole house full of our package. But Crazy Reggie was up in there. And he seen the smoke from, I don't know who house. I think he was over there with Freddie Sanders' house over there in Gamer Circle, because this one I stayed in Jacobs. He remember that. That's the realest GPK, man, to me, through and through. That's my big brother right there, man, because that brother ain't never turned his back on me, and that's why I can say I truly got major love for Josie Wales, man. Crazy Reggie is my family, and that's how OG should be. And that's if I'm gonna model myself out to somebody, I never change. That's why I want a youngster to look at me like I look at Crazy Reggie. Someone I can go to beyond this GPK shit. Someone I can go to as a big brother and really get some advice, you know? Because a lot of these kids out here, man, they want to be helped. They just want the right person to help them. They don't want nobody out here faking the funk. They don't want to hear that. Acting like you tough, but you can't even walk yards in certain prisons. Out here, cheerleading these youngsters on to kill themselves, but you up in the penitentiary working with the investigators, man. Your job is to get these pistols out these youngsters' hands, man. I ain't preaching. That's for the pastors. I'm keeping it real. Your job is to get these young guns up out these youngsters' hands, man. Because when a lot of y'all locked up and get life sentences and can't do nothing, and your son out there representing your name and you scared to death, you taking psych meds because you don't want to wake up to somebody telling you your son just got knocked down. You don't want nobody putting no pistol in your kids' hands. So don't you think you obligated to keep it both ways, man? I do. If I see one of my homeboys that's not capable of giving their son some noble advice to stay out of trouble, I'm obligated to step up because I help distort their vision of reality to make this gangster stuff look like it was cool, which it's not. It's not. And we want to blame everything on everybody else but ourselves when we the ones out here killing ourselves. And people want to chronicleize how this went and chronicleize how that went and want to lie and be big and want to be bad, but they don't want to be there when the problem needs to be solved. That's that real gangster stuff. That's that real work. Going at these youngsters and telling them, hey, look, it ain't cool to go to prison. It's okay to lose a fight. Okay? That ain't gonna do nothing but make you tougher. You can't expect to win every time. How you gonna succeed if you don't fail? We have to instill self-esteem and a new self-image and deter them away from these fake ass so-called gangsters who only gangster, you know what I'm saying, when they got a crowd. But when they get in a room with the police, they this way. Or when they get in a room in a penitentiary with a dude that don't buy none of that, they be that way. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep it real. I don't care about nobody hating on me, man. I don't. And I don't need to pick up no gat or nothing. I am confident in my ability to defend myself. I got 22-inch arms. I'm cool. I don't need no gadgets or none of that. All I need is common sense and the ambition I got. And that's to keep myself liberated and to help liberate these youngsters. Not from these white people who we got them thinking is they oppressor. In some cases, some things never change. But let's just really look at it. Who the real Klansmen? Who the real boys in the hood? It ain't the Klan no more. They the original boys in the hood. Who the real boys in the hood now? They done took off the white capes and they got dreadlocks now. Yeah. And they melanated in black. That's the new Klan. That's who killing black boys is other black boys. All on the internet. And you got these podcasters fanning the flames. You got 50-something-year-old men arguing with 23-year-old kids. Telling 23-year-old kids to pull up. Is that teaching the youngsters? Telling them to pull up? You don't, listen, these youngsters is not going to let you discipline them with your hands, man. Y'all got to find common ground. Just like you wanted people to respect your gangster back in the days, you going to have to respect theirs. And talk to them, not at them. For real. You going to have to discipline them mentally. Because they're not going to go for you putting their hands on them. These youngsters, they're not doing that. If you really want to help these youngsters, stop talking at them. Stop telling them to pull up. Listen to them. They the same as you. When could nobody tell you nothing. Now it's like you arguing with your younger self. And you ain't gonna do nothing but keep on going back and forth because could you tell your younger self something? I've been to Elko 3 times, Caliente, Tennessee twice, the Crazy House, and I was certified as an adult. And I went and I did 20 years in prison. So you tell me. You tell me. You know, I'm a realist. I got a lot of history to give you, but at the same time, I'm not finna a lot of these youngsters to place you people where you wasn't. I'm not finna make you look good. This is not about you. This is about the youth. Tell your own story. Get your own podcast. Do what you do. My thing is, I really want to save them. I think I can, and I think they worth saving. I want to stop mothers from burying their children. That ain't how that go. We supposed to bury our mothers and our fathers. They're not supposed to bury us. We're not supposed to bury our children. That trend needs to stop. They do. And you can do all this all you want, but I tell you something. The ones that's doing all this here, you probably got a bald spot. You probably turned down every fade that was bought to you. I probably got you off PC. And Lord knows what some other people then probably did to you that you just don't want to get out. Yeah, you haters in the back, the beady eyed ones, you know, the ones that don't talk, you hiss. You always like this. Psst. Psst. Hisses. Tell your own story. And let's get one thing straight. Herbert Gerson ain't never. I'm born and raised over there. There's nothing you can tell me about that area. We ain't never wore blue rags. Ever. So don't do that. You distorting history. We ain't never wore no blue rags. Now, if you want to know the truth, the K9s did. They the only ones that is up under the ground that ever wore blue rags. Name another one. The Brownies, well, you do have the block. Sorry, the block. The K9s and the block is the only ones that's been up under the blue rag. Everything else, and that was because the block was 60s and a 60 started K9. But the Gersons never wore no blue rags, bro. No. Never. Now, if some of y'all didn't put blue rags in your pocket, and that's you, but the Gersons never wore blue rags. And the Crips know that. So that's not gonna fly. That's why if you really don't know history, don't distort it. Don't distort it. Shout out to everybody. B. Mac Adams. Shout out to No Brains. I much love to No Brains, man, from the coast, man. I love what you told me. And you right. People go hate on me. That's what they do. I can't live my life worried about that. But one thing you already know. And my mama stayed over there in the coast, huh? You know what's happening with me, you know. And it's crazy. People don't even understand. My best friend in the coast, you know, was Lil Jesse. I hung with Lil Jesse. Why? Ask yourself why. Why? Why was me, Lil Jesse, and Burger B so close? Even Marlo knew that. Why was we so close? Where did me and Lil Jesse know each other from? Me and Lil Jesse and Marlo used to do beer runs. Me, Lil Jesse, Marlo, Tom, Taylor, and Burger B used to do beer runs at that store called the Jets, right across the street from Amp. We used to go in there and steal all like Night Train and beer. But what me and Lil Jesse know each other from? Why was we so close? Yeah, it speaks for itself, don't it? Yeah, that speaks for itself. Why was me and Burger B so close? Think about it. Marlo knew me, and Marlo knew where I was from. All y'all did. That's why Sherman couldn't stand me. Even Boo Rock hated me. And they knew where I was from. Bad Mike, God Porter, it's a bunch of us. But it was a lot of them that kept it cool with me. Like Alexis, Andre Stampley. He knew where I was from and he wouldn't let nobody mess with me. That's why me and him was close. And his brother Don used to come over to my mama's house and play spades. And I got close with Ronnie Carter through Andre Stampley because they stayed, because Ronnie Carter stayed in front of Andre Stampley. And that's how me and Ronnie Carter got real close. And that's how I got cool with Bunte. Because Andre wouldn't let nobody mess with me. And the other Keith Carter that stayed on the corner right there. Them two, they wouldn't let nobody. We always was on the pass. They knew exactly where I was from. They wouldn't let nobody mess with me. Because Felicia Day used to try to beat me up. And she was ferocious. But they wouldn't let nobody mess with me. Roro, his cousin Bug, Green Eye Bug, Juice, all them. They used to try to beat me up every day. You know? What you call him? Noriega, when he was rapping, he used to be with Wilbur, light-skinned Wilbur. Even E-Dub, another hand guy, knockout artist. They knew where I was from. They used to just throw stuff at me. And I used to steal their bikes too. They leave them outside. Yeah, they knew where I was from. But some tripped and some didn't. But they jumped Bad Mike and I left. But respect to No Brains. That was my brother. He never changed on me. And he knew where I was from because his cousin Andre Loafer used to claim Gershon too.